Lami, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've missed Two Grown Men. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Two Grown Men. It feels like an eternity. We've not been here for a while. We've been busy lifing,
Yep.
but it's good to
Yep.
be back. I've missed these interactions. I've missed like the conversations and just us just talking about life. I've missed it. For me,
Absolutely.
I
And
always like I
absolutely.
always say it's therapy. It's therapy. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be
Yes,
back.
so yes, so we've missed
Is
I've
there?
missed you. I've also missed
Mm,
the viewers. I've missed your comments, I've missed the likes, I've missed everything, and there has been
yeah,
a lot since
a
we recorded
lot,
last. A lot. We're even trying to
a
debate what
lot.
should we tackle. So let's look at the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
On Sunday, we got two bits of news on Sunday. The first bit of news, a lawyer called Busby. So let me just give you a slight background, viewers. Busby is the lawyer that announced that there were 120 cases against Diddy. A separate case. I don't want to lump everything. It's the same lawyer that announced that there were 120 individual civil cases against Diddy. Now, he did a press conference that day, and he did mention that there were other celebrities. And he mentioned that there was a bigger household name than Diddy. And people are wondering, who is the bigger household name? So on Sunday, back to my story, on Sunday, he announced a civil lawsuit that an unnamed woman uh, who was a girl in the year 2000, a 13-year-old girl in the year 2000, alleges that Jay-Z, government name Shawn Carter, allegedly hired her. I can't say the word on YouTube for obvious reasons, but allegedly hired her, and
Assaulted her.
within yeah, and within an hour, maybe 2 hours, Jay Z came out with a letter, came out with a strongly worded, emotional letter, um, denying it. But we'll get back to the denying bit later. So really, that's the premise of this particular episode. We just want to trash out the allegations, and they remain allegations at this point on this civil suit, and Jay-Z's reaction, and we're just going to look at this from different, perspectives and different areas. Lami, what's your take on the case?
It feels like every day there's another case. Every day, another set of allegations. Every
Hmm.
day, more evidence. Every day, more accusations. Every day, it gets more and more interesting. It's almost like we're sliding into a hole. Forgive the analogy. And it's almost become a bottomless pit at this point. Different issues, Last week, it seems like last week, right? It was our man, our grandpa Bill Cosby. And then it
Hmm.
was Sean Combs, right? It was
Hmm.
what's his
Hmm.
name now? P. Diddy. And Diddy's case
We're not
broke
even
in
out
the
of that
most
yet. We're not out of that yet.
we're not there, And then it was the Cassie Ventura videotape or video, which sort of, if you were trying to paint the worst possible picture of Diddy or of anybody on this planet, you couldn't do much worse. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words. A video speaks an entire encyclopedia, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then
Yep.
here we are, it's Jay-Z.
Hmm.
It's heavy, it's scary. Where does this end? When I heard I remember just holding my head and thinking, oh no, not Jay-Z. Oh no. And then we read Jay-Z's denial, Jay-Z's impassioned, passionate denial. This is blackmail. This is not true. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to clear my name. But I tell you something, Yemi, he was rattled. Shawn Carter, the man, the human being, was rattled. I don't know you can convince me that charge didn't rattle him. Or what do you think?
Hmm. So I don't think I don't think there was any point in time in that letter where he said he didn't do it. I saw that letter as a non-denial denial. and I'm not in the legal world. It was a crafty, emotionally led letter where he tried to deflect by attacking. So he attacked the lawyer's credibility, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But he attacked the lawyer's credibility as an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. He talked about he's known for things. He knows his reputation. He was in the Marines. He's supposed to uphold the honor and valor that is supposed to be associated with the Marines. Then he talked about, having to break the news to his daughter and his family. So from his, he talked about the family side. But what I was expecting to hear was one, I was not there with this woman, this lady, this child at the time you said this thing happened. Two, I categorically deny that ever took place. I didn't get that. I got a part where he was saying, "Would you agree?" He's responding and asking somebody a question. Would you agree? He's saying that it's from the streets, and the code of the streets is that they don't deal with children. So he talked in parables in a way. He was angry in his tone, but what I didn't get was that flat out denial. But you can infer from the language and the spirit of the letter that he was definitely saying that this wasn't me. But I thought with the passion that he used to write that letter, he could have just, even if it was that should have even been the first thing. So it takes me back to the Michael Jackson case in 1993. This was pre-social media, and Michael did a video. And Michael categorically denied that he did it, and he said, "No, this is not me." One of the takeaways I had with his response was in as much as I admire the passion. He's a family man. He clearly loves his family to bits. This has rattled him, like he said. But somehow, I think he should have allowed the legal experts to craft a response. I'm not saying he has to. The form that he decided to respond. I'm not saying he had to do it like the late Michael Jackson by doing a video. He wanted to do it through Instagram. He did it through Instagram. But I think from a public relations perspective and from a legal perspective, I think he should have allowed the legal experts to craft, a stronger message to the lawyer and to the person who was accusing him of this obviously heinous crime. So that's the part I didn't really like about his response. But I'm happy that he responded quickly. Probably didn't want it to go to 24 hours, 48 hours and drag. So he addressed it immediately. He came out, he said, "No, this is not me." But the manner and the language that he used, I think could have been better. So that's my take on his response.
Well, it's interesting. I think he responded from the heart. He did not. The lawyers will probably make a statement later on. I agree. Should have said unequivocally, "I did not do it," as opposed to things as, "We don't do this. Where I'm from is a heinous crimes. We don't do this. We don't." You can. I mean, it's clear that he's denying it. He just didn't say an unequivocal, "I did not do it." I like the fact that, and I said something earlier. I said he was clearly rattled. Look, in fairness, there's no one that hears or receives those kind of allegations that will not be rattled by them, whether they are true or false. I dare you not to be rattled, especially when you know the consequences of those sort of allegations. It speaks to your person. It speaks to your brand, and there will be financial consequences. Jay-Z and Beyonce are worth somewhere like $2 to $3 billion today.
Correct.
And with that kind of net worth, it's precarious, right? You're sitting on a time bomb, on a ledge. Anything goes wrong, and the whole thing can collapse. So your businesses, I mean, the companies you're tied to, and a lot of this money is paper money, right? It's not physical cash. And
It's not
so
physical cash.
so a lot of the brands the companies you're associated with, if they decide to drop you because of these allegations, you can go
Your
from
net worth.
plummets. You'll still be a very rich man, but and then you're now exposed to all sorts of lawsuits. Beyond the immediate collateral effect, there's a direct effect of people suing you. And I mean, as you saw with Bill Cosby, as you saw with Sean Combs, he gets sued, and it's a cascade. Even if this one was legit, there is now the risk of opportunistic people just coming out there and saying, look, I was also a victim. I was also a victim. He touched me too. He assaulted me too, and all that.
Yeah.
So I understand why he didn't wait. He didn't wait for the lawyers to get involved. He just came out and said, I not be me. I beg, free me. No, I know they, you know. And you have to respect that. He's definitely worried about what's happened with Sean Combs. I'm praying that doesn't happen to him as well. I mean, it's hard times. It's hard times. It's hard times. And then, like you said, I'm a family man. How do I go and tell my teenage daughter? How do I tell my children? How do I tell my wife? Because part of Jay-Z's brand is being a family man.
Now,
so how do I go back and tell my family that, oh, I was accused of these things? How does he go back and tell his family?
It's tough. It's tough. And like you said, you know, we're in precarious times. And in this case, there are so many things I want us to touch on this case. And then we'll move away from, you know, Jay-Z, you know, for a little while. Like I mentioned earlier, guys, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. Please like this video first and foremost. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Going back to the case. So the lawyer that I mentioned, Bisbee, was the one, like I said, he was the one who he's representing 120 clients, and he did say that there were other celebrities. Recently, he said celebrities have started to pay. He said celebrities have started to pay, and the Bisbee guy is doing well. If you check his Instagram, he has luxury cars, big houses, whatever. He's doing quite well. So he has a lot of clients. These are not his only clients. He's accused of being known for things like this, you know, going after super rich people and going after them for civil suits to try and get them to settle and pay. So now we understand that this particular case, he reached out to Jay-Z in October, and he sent him a demand notice, a demand letter. Now, it was interesting. The choice of letter was for them to have a conversation. So he's claiming that he didn't ask Jay-Z for any money on behalf of his client. And we understand that Jay-Z also sued him for extortion. So it makes it, this case is complex, is the point I'm making. So there are two cases here. So there's a case against Jay-Z, and there's a case from Jay-Z saying the lawyer tried to extort him for money. But the lawyer is now saying that they didn't ask Jay-Z for money. They only wanted to, the client just wanted to sit with Jay-Z and have a conversation with Jay-Z. And Jay-Z wasn't having any of it. So he didn't respond. Either he didn't respond or he didn't want to sit with any client until what happened on Sunday happened. So for me, that's all I have to say about, you know, the lawyer. We're going to see where this case takes us. It's instructive to note that there's a court of law and there's a court of public opinion, and sometimes they clash. Sometimes the court of law and the court of public opinion catch up with each other and they are the same thing. Sometimes it's widely apart, where the court of public opinion has already condemned someone, only to go to a court of law, whether it's civil or criminal in nature, and you find out that the opposite has happened. So one has to be very careful when discussing in matters like this, because it's a legal matter. And at the end of the day, you know, they will settle it in or out of court, as the case may be. So for me, looking at it from that perspective, let's go back to the allegations. Do you think the allegations are preposterous? Because me, I have questions. And why I say I have questions is a 13-year-old girl, we're both fathers. A 13-year-old girl left her home. She was dropped off, right? On the day they had the MTV Video Music Awards, MTV VMAs in the year 2000. And as she was walking, she said one of Diddy's drivers saw her and said, "Oh, she looks like Diddy's spec," and managed to get her into the party. And then she now recounted what happened. Now, and so number one, a young girl, an underage girl, a minor, went to an adult party filled with celebrities. She managed to enter there. That's number one. Number two, she alleges that she was hired by Diddy and Jay-Z. And number three, there was an unnamed female celebrity. Who is this unnamed female celebrity that was in the room that she's talking about? Number four, she's not been named. She's been named as Jane Doe. I understand why they do that for legal reasons. Minors should be protected and all that. I have no issues with that. I mean, Jay-Z is coming out and saying that they should name the person. The court system have their way of dealing with things like this. So they decide to protect the name, for legal reasons. So the name of the female celebrity hasn't been mentioned. How did she get there in terms of, and she was allowed in, allegedly, all these adult celebrities. But you see, when I think about it again, and I think about a young Usher, in his own words,
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Usher's parents or mom or dad allowed him to go and live with Diddy when he was 13, 14. Knowing the kind of person that Diddy was, knowing the kind of wild life that he was living. And from that age, that 13, 14 years old, Usher hasn't said anything untoward. Usher said he saw some very curious things. His words. What were those curious things? He said, I just saw some curious things. That's what he said to Howard Stern. And Howard Stern asked him a question, allow me. Would you allow your son to go to Diddy's Flavor Camp? And Usher said, hell no. Say he won't. So what did he see? What kind of activities went? Yes. And we've been hearing about these things as far back as the 60s, 70s, 80s. This kind of culture, we've been hearing about it within the entertainment industry. It's sickening. It's sickening. The culture is what I'm even talking about now. I'm not even going to and I only mentioned the Usher case and some other cases because I was trying to paint a picture of sometimes thinking that a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old can be in a room of adults and things are going on, curious things, is not out of the realm of possibility. without prejudicing this case and saying he did it or he didn't do it. That's not the point I'm making. It's the culture I'm even talking about. Allow me, it's the culture.
Where are your parents? How is a 13-year-old
Where are the parents?
able? And then, what sort of world is it that you're having an adult party and there are minors in the room?
Yeah.
The first thing is, you're like, who let kids into this party in the first place? You know, they shouldn't.
What is he doing here? What's she doing here?
What is she doing here? But it's so normalized. And I think, again, look at Usher's case, all right, where you say that Usher's mom allowed him to go and live with Diddy. I believe there was a similar story about Justin Bieber being allowed to live with Usher and then being allowed by Usher to go and live with Diddy. So it's like an apprenticeship, right? And you and I spoke today about several cases. The Kardashian case, the Kardashian Jenner girl, Elvis Presley and Priscilla. And so many of these cases where you know that there's a very young person being allowed by their family to be around a much older person. And within the context, and they're celebs, they're rich celebrities. As a parent, you've already sort of fed your child to the wolf. Yoruba will say, Ewe kila jambe kunshe. You've already left your child in a place where there are no chaperones. We all know now what goes on in entertainment, whether it's rock, R&B, rap, jazz, comedians, sports. You all know about groupie culture. You all know about all the things that go on in this world. So when you let your child go and hang out with one of these celebs, you're effectively feeding your child into that machine. And you're there, you're not supervising the child. Whatever happens, you've basically let the child be. So I don't even know if this person was supervised or not. Clearly, I mean, it looked like she wasn't supervised. If she was walking down the road and someone said, "Oh, you look," or in the party, and someone says, "You look like Diddy's spec," that means there are people out there who know they're enablers out there who know what your spec is and who are willing to provide those sort of things for you. There are people who are willing to procure. I know we've said this thing before on this channel, I think, about how with people who are young and rich and famous, they get used to hearing yes. Nobody says no to them. Whether it's a 40-year-old woman, a 30-year-old woman, a 21-year-old woman.
It's the same thing. Even their 70s, the same thing.
Same thing. Nobody's saying no to you. Everything's just yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. And so I think you almost sort of lose your morality. You lose, if you don't have a strong moral compass, if you don't have a strong grounding, I think it's very, very easy to lose your way. I think some things become so normalized that you don't even realize this thing wrong now. This thing is wrong because you're just used to it. You're at a party, there are women throwing themselves at you. Are you going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And I guess you get to the point where you don't even realize the lines are so blurred, have become so blurred that you're not even realizing this person old, young, is this person even legal? Whereas in the normalized world that you and I live in, you go out, you see someone and you're like, that person is too young to be in this room.
Absolutely.
So it's a nightclub. You see a girl in a nightclub and you're like, why is that girl in this club? That girl is too young to be here now. That girl is too young to be here. Because you live in this normalized world where there's a right and there's a wrong. And there are clear lines in between. But in this world where they live in, where everybody's a yes man, everybody's an enabler. Who is the person telling you, no, bros, you can't walk?
Because they're benefiting from you.
They're benefiting from them.
They're benefiting from you. Yeah. So I mean, so there's a wider. I mean, to the point you're making, there's a
There's a wider
wider,
problem.
wider cultural problem. Yes, there is.
There's a problem.
There is.
There's
There
a
is.
problem. There's a problem
So
here.
I mean,
And
go ahead.
I was saying that more and more of these stories are coming out. More and more of these stories. And just when you think, no, now. So there's stories of R. Kelly having minors around when he and Jay-Z were on tour together. Okay.
So
And
Nas confirmed that in a video.
Yeah.
And Nas is big. Yes, Nas is big enough and he would have been in those circles. Damon Dash to Jay-Z's ex-business partner said they clashed on some decisions, and I think he advised Jay-Z not to go on the tour because Jay-Z had 2 albums and a world tour with R. Kelly.
With R. Kelly,
Damon Dash apparently, is on video saying that he advised Jay-Z not to do it.
I warned him not to do it. Yeah.
That this was after like that video came out with R. Kelly, doing
what he did
illegal
with
acts against with minors and stuff. So it seems, I mean, sometimes it's easy to get carried away, but I'm not saying Jay-Z did it or didn't because I don't know. But if you look back at that culture in the year 2000, it was a different guy. He wasn't married. He didn't have a family. Different guy, young guy, baller. And, this was pre-social media. And it's just, for me, they're just things that have happened it's not really good to link people by association because somebody is associated with somebody who is doing something doesn't mean they're doing it. So let's make that clear. But when there are too many things that are linking you, people can now start to say, what's going on with this particular individual? And because when that Diddy thing came out on social media, many people were saying Jay-Z was next. This was as far back as March, allow me. People were saying Jay-Z was next, Jay-Z was next, Jay-Z was next. I'm gonna say, why is everybody saying Jay-Z is next? And then people are like, okay, he's also quiet when the stuff happened. I said, but what do you want him to say? Is he supposed to say his speech? He's supposed to give out a speech to say Diddy is innocent? He doesn't know. His name is not mentioned, so he can only really speak when his name is mentioned, which is why
he's done
he's
now.
speaking now. Yeah. So I mean, innocent till proven guilty. We just have to see how this one plays out. We'll have to see how this one plays out.
It is tough.
But allow me. If you think 2024
wait till next year.
A crazy year. Next year.
Wait till next year.
That lawyer, that Bisbee guy, he said many celebrities have settled. And because he has agreement to them, he can't release.
The NDAs,
Yeah, the NDA. So only God knows what is probably going to happen in 2025. We might be having 2 cases. We might be having a Jay-Z case, or we may be having a Diddy case. And Jay-Z has been, his career, his business choices, his business acumen is great, and the way he's held his family together. If this was to go left, it's going to be.
These are 2 of the
your
biggest
guess is as good as mine.
Black entertainment icons. 2 of the biggest
over the last 20, 30 years.
Over the last 2-3 decades. And these are men who are pillars of that industry. They've transcended just entertainment. They have interests in all sorts of things. I mean,
NFL, water.
I'm not just a businessman. I'm not just a businessman. I'm a business
man.
I'm a business. And then here you are, and you're realizing that the entire empire was built on what? Sand. And if there's one case, there are 20. Because if this is predatory behavior, they didn't stop at one woman. On some level, look, the part of me that's a parent says, if these men did these things, then it's a good thing for these women to have justice. It's a good thing for these women to have their day in court, to have a right to confront their abusers and say, you did this to me. Beyond the financial settlement, it's the closure. I know a couple of women who've been assaulted, and it's something that they never get over. 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, it's an open wound. And I guess it makes it easier to deal with if they're able to confront their accusers and get some semblance of justice. And so,
which is what the lawyer said he was trying to do in October. Yeah.
And I'm all for it. If these guys did it, then they deserve to be dragged. When I saw that Cassie video,
I don't have any sympathy if he's involved. I have zero sympathy myself. Yeah, being a father as well, zero sympathy.
Yeah,
zero.
Yeah, zero. I agree with you. Zero, absolutely zero. If you did the time,
but what I don't also
want,
what I also don't want is, soiling a man's name because he has money.
If he's innocent,
taking a man down because he's. So if he's innocent, it's also very
like Benjamin Mendy. You're innocent, and they drag your name through the mud.
4 years.
They ruin your
Man
career.
City stopped paying him. Yeah,
these are years you can never get back because an
athlete can't play football at that level anymore. Yeah, no,
anymore.
It's over.
4 years is, and 4 years around the peak of your career.
Yeah,
I mean, by the same token, I believe that there must be consequences if you accuse a man falsely. And I'll stand on this hill. I'll die on this hill. If you accuse a man falsely, and they can prove that you accused this man falsely, you should face criminal sanctions.
Yes.
There should be criminal and civil sanctions. Provided they can prove that you lied. Once they can prove that you lied. In Mendy's case, one of the women that accused him, they found out that they found text messages, I think it was, between her and her friends that suggested that she was
premeditated.
Lying.
Yeah, it was premeditated.
She was lying. That girl should not be walking free. You ruined a man's life. You cannot walk free now.
I know the funny thing about the whole thing. Because of this Jane Doe thing I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the woman still has not been mentioned. So like you said, she's just going to, quote unquote, live her life. So, but the people in the footballing community know who she is. Because the girls that do things like this tend to sleep with multiple men, as you'd imagine. So they know them, but they couldn't name her for legal reasons. So that's one area of the law that they should look into. That if you are found to be lying, there should be some.
Let us expose you. Yes. There must be there must be sanctions. If you look, it's a different case if it's difficult to prove. Okay, you try the guy, he's found not guilty on a technicality or whatever it is, but there's evidence that this thing happened. Take Cassie, for example. You can't deny that Cassie was abused.
Yeah. No
but
denial.
In Mendy's case, where you now have evidence, positive, absolute evidence that confirms that this person lied. You cannot be Jane Doe now. No.
Can she name me?
You can't be Jane Doe because you've ruined this guy's life. Let's ruin your own life.
It was on front page. It was on front page of several dailies in the UK. The Telegraph. It was on Sun. It was everywhere.
And videos.
No football club wanted to touch him. His own football club stopped paying him. Yeah. His family. Oh, yes. So, it's crazy.
Take is it Mason Mount or this guy from Man U? It's not Mason Mount, is it? This Man U guy.
Which guy?
Hold on.
Grealish? No, not Grealish. No. Grealish not Man U. Grealish is City.
He's gone somewhere else. Mason Greenwood. Take Mason Greenwood. Okay. Look, when you read the evidence, when you watch it, you realize that he did assault this person. There's an audio tape of him saying "shut up" and being verbally abusive. in that case, even though the matter didn't go to trial, you cannot say the woman was lying against him. There's enough there to say, you know what, this guy definitely was a monster. For technical reasons, maybe they couldn't convict him, but it doesn't absolve him. In Mendy's case, Mendy has been absolved. Madam, you need to collect. You will collect.
Yes, no, they should change it. No, jokes apart, they
And
should change it. They
I
should
have
change it.
every
They should change it.
sympathy,
Yeah.
every support for the victims. But if you're not another angle is, if you're not a real victim and you lie, you make it difficult for real victims to come forward.
That is the problem. And they are real
So
victims.
you ruin it for other people. You ruin it now. There are real victims. There are real people who have been assaulted. And then you make it hard for those people. Then you make an innocent man
suffer. You make an innocent man suffer.
It's not right. It's not right. It's absolutely not right. And then there'll be an innocent girl who was genuinely assaulted, and she's afraid to come out because she's going to be stigmatized. He's already had enough to relieve those things. Then she'll be stigmatized. You know, she'll be accused of lying because some stupid cow.
And afraid of coming out.
Lie about it. She's afraid of coming out. She's going to suffer in silence.
Yeah,
that's double pain. She will never get justice or closure because some cow lied. So let me clarify. I am always on the side of the victim, but of the genuine victims. If you're going to lie because you want to make money, you're going to make money at the expense of an innocent person's career, name, and reputation. And their freedom. Yeah. There are people in prison who are in prison because they were falsely accused. No.
After deep investigation, because maybe they're asking questions and under cross examination, it's not quite looking right, and then they find out that no, it was
you lied
due to anger or you lied.
Well, the guy he's been arrested. He's had to hire a lawyer. He's spent money.
His job, and you know this. His job, he's probably going to lose his job. Or yeah. Anyway, we're going to keep a close one on this one. It's still hot. It's still everywhere. Every news outlet is reporting it. There's legal analysis. There's analysis in different areas of this particular case. If there's a follow-up, we'll report it, but nothing new since Sunday. I think Beyonce too released a statement. As you'd imagine, she supported her husband. Apart from his initial statement, nothing has happened. The lawyer too came out and is doubling down on and saying that, look, you know, this did happen. So we'll see. We will see what happens in the civil courts. So Lami, any final thoughts on this one before we close?
No, it's a mess. I'm still waiting to see what happens. And
Same here.
I'm curious. I'd like to see justice happen. I want to get to the truth of this matter. And I hope to God that we actually get the truth.
Yes.
And that justice is served. Whatever side it is, I pray that justice is served. And that's all I'm after. But thank you very much for watching us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And if you want to reach out to us, if you want to be part of this show, we're at twogrownmen@gmail.com. We're at Two Grown Men on your Twitter X. We're at Two Grown Men on Instagram. Please support us. And thank you very much for watching us. Yemi, over to you.
Thank you. I mean, nothing else to add. We're still monitoring this case, and yes, you know, justice has to be served at all times, irrespective. And I like the fact that, you know, today we didn't show bias to say, oh, because we like this guy. No, it shouldn't be about who we like or who we don't like. It's irrelevant. Stick to the facts of the case. And thank you for watching, staying with us to the end. Subscribe, like, comment, and send us an email. And we'll see you in the next one.